Grizzly Den. Chenling is both an engineer and a lawyer. Disappointed that you're not an accountant as well, but we look forward to your presentation. So please take it away and tell us about yourself.
Hi, Terry. Hi, everybody. My name is Chenling Jiang. Thank you for being here for me today. I was born in China. After I graduated from law school in China, I decided to move to Canada. I thought my English was pretty good before I moved to Canada, until I arrived in Canada and tried to order a sandwich. I didn't know what mustard was and described it as the yellow liquid. At that time, I thought to myself, I got to study and work really hard in this new country. Guess what? I went to school again. I decided to do an engineering degree. I graduated from UVic with an engineering degree and a perfect GPA. I worked as a CAE engineer at BASF Shanghai, a data scientist at Bosch Japan, and a mechanical estimator at Calgary. I'm fluent in Mandarin, Japanese, and English. I'm a good communicator in multinational teams. My greatest strength at work is taking the initiative to automate repetitive tasks. I'm passionate for efficiency, even in my hobby music. Whenever I practice singing, I always try to find the most efficient way to improve. I'm currently looking for a data scientist job position. The value I can bring to a company, which will differentiate me from other data scientists, is developing lasting solutions that work under all circumstances. I call it future-proofing. I'm a continuous learner and like to pick up different lanes for improvements. I would like to ask the Grizzlies to connect me with any jobs related to data science today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So law and engineering tend to be viewed as very different professions. Which should you prefer?
Right now, I prefer data science.
But amongst those two that you studied, which did you prefer?
I prefer engineering.
And why is that?
Because I find myself more goal-oriented. I like set up goals and milestones in my career path. I think engineering is more like task project based. So I can like feel more like self-satisfied with the improvement I can see more visibly in a like project. So I prefer engineering to law.
Okay, and what do you define as data science, data engineering? Is it AI, ML? Is it something else?
I think data science or data engineering, I think I have not done any jobs related to data engineering, but I've done jobs in data science. So in data science, it's like we see the data and the data pattern. Let's say in business, we will build a predictive business models to anticipate customers' needs. So like data, actually, there's money behind data because and it also depends on which algorithm you can use to apply to make the data make more sense. It's literally like make the data talk and give us more valuable information.
So you've worked at a lot of different organizations.
Right.
What was your favorite culture? You know, there's be difference between working in Japan and working for Kiwit, and you know, what was your favorite?
My favorite culture is more like an international, global company because I have international upbringings, working multinational teams. Let's say Bosch, I had to communicate with a lot of data experts from India, agriculture experts in Japan, and software engineering experts in Germany. So that kind of culture I really enjoy because I have learned a lot from different cultures, a lot of professional skills in different countries.
Which is quite amazing. Why did you pick UVic for your studies here?
Because of the weather. I wasn't born in a very super cold country, like a place. So I guess Victoria is a good place to start.
Fair enough. Grizzlies, questions for Chenling?
Yeah, very impressive background resume, almost on the borderline intimidating. It's pretty impressive. Question a bit about the data side. You talked a bit about that. You prefer to be on the research side of new development or the applications?
Right.
What's your preference, application or research?
I worked in the R&D department for Bosch. So I would prefer to work in R&D department environment because I think I see myself continuous improvement more in R&D department than in application department.
And how do you marry the understanding from applying a technology into the world of actual research and development?
I think if I understand your question correctly, if is that you're asking me how to apply the technology to the real world.
Or vice versa, how do you take real world, once the technology is applied and real world information, how do you best get that into research and development side? So yeah.
For example, I used to work in this agricultural sensor at Bosch. So the sensor was used to predict the tomato disease. I think we first used the data science algorithms. Everything is theoretical there. And we also do experiments from tomatoes in greenhouses. And then when the products were brought to the market, launched to the market, we got feedbacks from the customers. And also we got more data. So we can improve the accuracy of our products even more.
Okay. Oh, and one last question, what do you do for fun?
I like singing and playing ukulele. Actually, I just have my ukulele beside.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out the most efficient way to practice.
Cool. Good. Thanks.
Thanks for your presentation, Chenling. You have a very impressive
Thank you,
background.
Jen.
So a couple areas I want to dig into. I'm curious sort of what brought you from Victoria to Calgary, and maybe on a day like today, you might be regretting that choice. Have you got a lot of flexibility in terms of if the right opportunity came up in Vancouver or Saskatoon or Toronto that you would move around Canada?
That's a good question. I actually have some opportunities, not in Canada, however, it's in China. I'm willing to move to pretty much any country, any place. If the role is a data science related, I'm happy with that position and I can bring the value to the company. Okay.
And what brought you from Victoria to Calgary? Was it work?
That's a good question. Definitely not the weather. it's because of the job, like the Kiwi job. I moved from Victoria to Calgary. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So now I want to dig into a little bit to your experiences. If you had that perfect job opportunity and you were being interviewed for a data scientist, tell me about a past experience, whether it was in your education or in your work experience, where you could really demonstrate your ability to add value.
Thank you so much for that question. So I think I will bring up my Bosch example again, because I was more data science related job. So I was given this task to literally test, prove our value, like the outputs of our algorithms make sense. And I realized that if the algorithms cannot import different formats of data, and that would give my coworkers a lot of time, like that will make them waste a lot of time in keeping the format the same. But it's really hard because if you do everything manually, that'll bring a lot of mistakes because people do make mistakes. So I decided to go ahead and write a script in order to automate and import all different formats of data into this algorithm. That's demonstrated my future proving value, so that I want to make sure that all the algorithms I write can work on all different circumstances. Even if now I don't know whether I have taken every situation into consideration. However, I would always lay out spaces for my scripts to be fixed or for troubleshooting in the future.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Last area I'm curious about, what brought you to the Higher Landing program?
So first of all, I got laid off by Kiwit at the end of last year because the pandemic, our clients suspended the project indefinitely, and I wasn't willing to relocate during the pandemic time. So I got laid off, and I went to this information session at the higher landing provided. And I thought, oh, that would be very interesting because I wanted to know what would be the soft skills I can have in the interviews. And I really learned a lot, especially the IP. So understand the customer's pain points. And also their pain points change every single day. So I think that would help me a lot in my future interviews.
That's great. Thanks very much, Chenling.
Oh, Chenling, if you were to create your ideal position with a specific company, who would it be with and what would it look like on a day-to-day basis?
I think I just did some job research on data science these days. I actually find a perfect position at ATP Financial. So it's from ATP Innovation. Hi, Terry. So I think the job descriptions require people to build business models to anticipate customers' needs and create algorithms and automate classifiers, data aggregation. Again, so those will be something I'm qualified for. Those are my skills. And I want a job that I can bring my skills and my values as well. So I want a job that people can value that I take the initiative to automate things and to be more innovative, because I don't want to waste time doing things repetitively in one job position. Mm-hmm. And then I think ATP is good company, judging by the fact I was reading their history. And I think it's a very impressive company. They do leave employers a lot of free time for innovation, mm-hmm. for self-motivation.
What's one of the most challenging experiences that you've had?
It's the challenging experience I had for my life, I would say, was in 2014 when I went to engineering school. My mom passed away at that time. Mm. So, however, my school continued, and I had two choices. First choice was take the time to mourn and drop out of school for that semester, or continue with that semester. Mm-hmm. I decided to continue with that semester, because I think in life, sometimes we got to move on, continue with our life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Sorry to hear that, by the way.
Thank you.
And just one more question. You know, a law degree is quite a departure from data analytics, or from my opinion, it is, maybe it's not, but has it given you perhaps a different perspective that would give you an edge over other people in the data analytics field?
I think absolutely, because one of my values is developing lasting solutions. So I always try to anticipate problems and think about risk reduction. So while I was practicing law before, we need to think from the opposite side and all the situations that could happen in the courtroom. So that kind of logical thinking definitely helped me a lot while I'm writing my programs and algorithms. Good.
Thank you.
Chenling, what was the biggest challenge in moving to Canada?
Language. I was a girl that would hide behind my friend whenever we go to a restaurant and try to order food. I'll never be able to read the menu, because why is it all in Italian or Spanish sometimes? And English is already hard for me. So maybe just like French words make the restaurant sound more fancy. So I was really shy to even order food.
How would you describe your work with colleagues at firms you have been at? What is your relationship style, and how do you interact?
I think I'm a more task-oriented person. So I keep my relationship with my coworkers more in just to the professional level. And then we still say like, how are you every day? But more it's like, we need to solve this problem today. And what is the solution? Let's just like do the brainstorm and think about how to solve problems every day.
But you say you bring a lot of knowledge and depth to a position with your many skills and backgrounds. Can I ask, what do you see as the future for data analytics, and how do you think your skill set plays into where that I guess body of knowledge is heading?
I think I was talking to my friend in Google. Actually, he mentioned something very interesting about the future of the data science. So he worked in chronic security. So at this time now, we need a lot of web like cybersecurity analysis. However, they were trying to reduce the work from a cybersecurity analysis. What they're doing is bring the big data work, keep going, and then that will reduce a lot of cybersecurity analysis work and bring more work to the data scientists. I think in the next few years, there will be a boost in the market. However, a machine could easily replace a data scientist's job in the future as well. I think, again, back to my legal training, I think my legal training also made me more like be a better communicator, not only with people and also with talking to data as well. You got to have the sense about how to apply the data. Maybe in the short time, I don't think the machine can replace that sense of humans.
Well, thank you very much. And that was a very profound answer.
Thank you.
So since you and Kent are both lawyers, several years ago, I was sitting on a judge on a panel for a university group that was looking at different AI applications. And, you know, just about every one of them said one of the first jobs that would be automated out was lawyer, because you could really standardize documents and basically do 90% of it with algorithms. Would you hold that view?
No. Yeah, that might make me lose my job. However, I was very lucky to have a little bit legal experiences in China. I think machines can understand the humans' feelings. Sometimes the case is not black and white. I think Kent knows a lot about it. A lot of things are in gray zones. So I think we still need the lawyers to make decisions, not just read the documents. I think a lawyer's job is more feel the needs from the customers and understand where their needs are. I think people can always do better than machines, in my point of view.
Excellent. Are you familiar with the Alberta Machine Learning Institute?
I think I joined like a data science women group, and then they mentioned something about that. Yeah. But I'm not like, I need still to look into it more.
So it's tends to be the research arm of data science in Alberta. So happy to make some intros there for you. And while I'm pleased that you're interested in ATB, I think your skill set might be better applied at AltaML.
AltaML, okay.
Yeah,
I'll write that down.
So I'm also on the board of that. And it has a fairly large Calgary contingent and growing every day. And I just, you know, your skill set is such a perfect fit for either of those organizations. So I you know, obviously would love to keep your talents in Alberta and not see it go into another market, because I think you've got some pretty unique skills. So we'll work on some of those connections.
Thank you.
What did you think? So I'm also on the board of Graham Construction, and we tend to be a little dismissive of the Kiewit culture. And we're in joint ventures with Kiewit, so it's said with somewhat good humor. Did you find it difficult working with all those engineers in a fairly regimented way of doing business?
Oh, I think Kiewit is definitely a very conventional company. It's really different from the environments I used to work at. However, I did learn a lot from them. I did learn how to talk and communicate with different people with different backgrounds. So it's different from like R&D, but I really enjoy it. And also as a lawyer before, we also got to talk to people from different backgrounds.
Can I just a quick question? I mean, we kind of joked about marrying legal and the data analytics, but have you looked at software like companies like Clio that are in actually doing software for legal professions? They do development right out of Calgary.
That's interesting. Could you please spell that company name for me?
Oh, it's CLIO. And I know a few people there. I can do some introductions after, but it's as we're talking, I'm going, there's not many things that directly link legal and there's software for a legal profession, right? And so anyways, and I'll be happy to do an introduction sometime after.
Thank you. That sounds a very interesting idea.
I think Good Law is a similar Calgary startup that's in process development too. So
Calgary's a hotbed of merging software and legal.
So usually we have to, these things, we have to coerce people into thinking about data science. So it's quite pleasurable to have somebody that has that front of mind. So kind of the last question we get to ask everybody, as you've seen from the days thus far, is what was your, oh, sorry,
I've got
Mike.
one more question if you don't mind.
Please, go ahead.
Real quick. I'm just curious, can you think of an example in your career so far where you worked on something from a data analytics perspective and then it led to a direct monetary gain to the company you were working with?
Thank you so much for that question. So let me bring up the Bosch example again. So I was giving this task to do some report generations for the data aggregations. And then I need to do that manually at the first place because they think Excel would be the best way to do it. However, I look at it, I was like, we can do it in Python, OpenPyXL, and then can automate this task and reduce the time from 20 to 30 minutes to 2 hours. And also it can increase the product accuracy. So when we went to the market for this product, we need to market this product for extremely accurate for tomato disease. So if the more accuracy of this prediction, the prediction of the product will make more money. So I think that make the product more lucrative when I increase the accuracy of the data.
Thank you. Go ahead, Terry.
So given that your ukulele's at hand, what's your favorite song to play on the ukulele?
I'm actually currently learning Cantonese. I'm trying to torture myself with singing with ukulele and speaking a different language, like Cantonese. So.
Well, that's beyond what I would have got up to for a hobby. So good for you.
Yeah, it's like a brain, right hand, left hand, doing different things, and I use my feet to count rhythms as well. So. Try that. You will have fun.
I have a ukulele, so maybe I will.
Yeah.
So back to my aha moment question. What was kind of the thing that triggered a positive response in you going through higher landing?
I think I mentioned to Janet about the IP, so the information and the IP, so the important things for a company and their pain points. And I also realized from my perspective that the job descriptions they post online don't cover all their needs. You need to maybe get connected with the people in that position before and ask them why they like their jobs and get more perspectives into that position. I think that is my aha moment.
Great, thank you. Now is our time to go and deliberate your presentation and your answers to our questions. So we'll leave the room for a few minutes and we thank you for your presentation. Back, how was that experience for you?
You mean today's Grizzly?
Yes, the presentation.
I feel great. I feel like I have talking to the most amazing minds because I was looking at each of you on LinkedIn and the profiles. You all have very interesting backgrounds, like both engineering and business. And Janet, you have education business background. And Ron, I'm really impressed about your treadmill walk top desk because we used to have something similar, not even anything close to that for our university project. I was thinking, you actually put that into business.
Well, thanks for the compliment, but I got to tell you, I felt pretty like I'd accomplished nothing. Do you mind if I ask how old you are? If it's not personal.
I'm 29, about to get 30.
Yeah. So when I was 29, you're an amazing person. So thank you for the compliment. I will take that as a huge compliment.
And also
I want to hear the rest of the when I was 29, Ron.
And also
that's where it ended. I was 29.
And I was really happy to have Kent in my group as well as a lawyer and a business combined background as well. And I've heard Ron and Kent, you both struggle a little bit in your life, and I'm just really impressed. Really, really impressed about your life experience, that perseverance. Thank you.
Well, what impressed me was not necessarily the perfect GPA as an indication of your intelligence, but the fact you have a very good sense of humor. And the yellow liquid story was great, because humor is a sign of high intelligence. So congratulations on that as well. So we're pleased to tell you we are going to certify you. You're amongst the very best candidates we've ever seen in the Grizzly Den. So congratulations. And we have a few points of feedback for you that you should take as constructive. And
Thank you.
Maybe we'll start with Mike.
Congratulations, Chenling. I loved your presentation. And but I think most of all, I really loved how real you were through the whole thing, because when we look at your resume, I mean, it's an amazing resume in terms of your qualifications. But I've met other people, perhaps not with the same degree of qualifications, but they're very, very smart, and they're nowhere near as well-rounded as you in terms of your ability to laugh, your outside interests, but also you also show vulnerability. And with the story about your mom, a lot of people, wouldn't even go there. They wouldn't talk about something like that. They talk about something like work. So, and the importance of that is in the leadership perspective, is that, should you one day decide to move into a leadership position, that it's really important to have that vulnerability, because people will be able to relate to you a lot more. So I just want to thank you again. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. I'll turn it over to the other Grizzlies now.
Thank you, Mike.
Kent?
Chenling, great presentation. I loved your sense of humor, your humility, and your sense of place and self. It was really very refreshing to see that type of confidence in someone. But what I'm most impressed of is your empathy. The way you have come into this room here after the fact and told us each about ourselves and how you have complimented us. I can tell you that skill that you just showed there is going to take you further than almost your most impressive resume and brilliant mind. Okay, that empathy, and don't ever lose that. And I can't really offer too much in terms of recommendations, but you're an extraordinary person. You put in the hard work and diligence to set yourself apart. Look for an opportunity that you think can take you somewhere for the next 20 years, because you have a lot to offer any organization or entity that's out there, and please understand that.
Thank you, Ken.
Janet?
Yeah, Chenling, I've been in the den many times over the last 4 years, and absolutely your pitch, your entire presentation, it was one of the best I've ever seen. Your pitch was great. It combined your personality, your sense of humor, it demonstrated your skills, and then you answered our questions so well. And I want to echo what Kent just mentioned. What you did when you came in here and you connected with each of us personally, that level of people skills is incredible. With your legal, technical, engineering background, that combination is really powerful. And I'm honored to have met you. I'd be happy to stay connected. And if you're looking for any kind of mentoring or connection into any of the women's organizations in Calgary, I'd really appreciate staying connected with you, because I think you have a lot to offer. And the advice I would offer is really making sure you don't settle, but that you really look for that opportunity that's going to help you engage and grow and continue building your skills, and that where you can really make an impact, not only on the organization, because you're going to do that wherever you work, but you have the ability to have an impact on the world.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Ron, final word for you.
Super impressive. I mean, all I could do is keep agreeing, and I do have some advice, but it's not about you or your resume or anything else. It's actually about your job hunting, because like you have a super stellar resume and background experience, but you are that's only telling half the story. You need to be face to face with people to see the whole story. So I would say, and I'll help do introductions, but you're clearly one person where I would say it's too bad of COVID because we can't do face to face, but definitely a video call. I just feeling in emails and and by text, it's not portraying you, right? Because there's so much more to you. I mean, you're the whole package, which is pretty impressive. So I would suggest as advice, if you ever have a choice between someone introduction by phone or video, go with video, right? If you can, I know it's not easy in face to face, but just get in front of people because you'll sell yourself after that, right? I actually think your barrier will not getting past someone who reads your resume and said, well, you're just too much of a candidate for what we need, or they'll read stuff into your resume that isn't there. Yeah, very impressive. And I'll be happy to do some introductions after this. And I will say, and I'll set up a video call with you.
Thank you. I would love to have a video call with you. Thank you.
So I would agree with all those statements. And I think, you know, I would very much like to introduce you to AltaML and Amy.
Thank you.
And there is Opportunity Calgary Income Fund also has an internship program for data science professionals that AltaML is a sponsor of. So that might be a first step. So maybe do a little bit of research on that to see if it appeals. But I think you're probably beyond the intern stage.
I would like to start from ground up or any position, as long as I can develop my knowledge in data science.
So I'll send your resume along to them too, if it's okay with you.
That's totally fine. Thank you so much, Terry.